Welcome, Leo. It's March 2016. I'm Dadhichi from astrology.com.au with your monthly forecast. And, I want to stick to the thematic approach to the key issues that are going on in your life right now, rather than, picking to pieces each and every single aspect that's going to occur. I think by focusing on the important transits, that's going to give you better value. And the one that in particular to me stands out right now is that continuing transit of Saturn in your 5th house. And Saturn is all about resistance. It's about the obstacles that you find in life that inhibit you from experiencing happiness. The 5th house is the house of creativity, and it also has a lot to say about the future events in your life. So it's important to get this right and to figure out ways to somehow release that resistance that you're feeling. It's important to note also that your ruling planet, well, the Sun rather, the ruler of Leo, is now in the 8th house of self-transformation, close to Neptune, the spiritual planet, and the South Node, which is the point in the heavens that relates to the entry of your soul into this existence, your past karma, the aggregate of what you've come with here to work through a lot of the issues that you have. There's a right angle taking place there, and within the first week of the month you will be feeling the pressure of responsibility to deal with all of this. 5th house is love affairs, creativity, and creativity really has a lot to do with tapping into the inner child within us. Leo is what we call the natural 5th sign of the zodiac, the natural zodiac, and that relates to children. So when you're looking at the way children function, it's quite interesting to see how they deal with the immediacy of the moment, that full, that complete, that immersive sort of awareness in the moment, completely oblivious to the previous moment or the next moment. It is really the here and now state of being. And although you have Mercury and Venus, the benefics in your 7th house of relationships, this Saturn-Sun square to me tells me that you're probably feeling as if you're the one that's taking on a lot of the responsibilities of the relationship. Now I'm going to tie all this together. You're probably wondering where I'm going with it. The resistance factor, when we apply that to relationships, is that unfulfilled state moment by moment where we're not happy with the relationship, where we feel as though, the relationship's nice, shown by the Venus and Mercury in the 7th house, but only because we ourselves are the ones taking a large part of the responsibility to make that work. And so what I think is happening now for you is very much tied in with this need to release yourself from the burden of being the one to make your romance and your love life work. And that resistance is causing you pain, inner pain. The outer side of things may look all bright and rosy, but the inner part of your experience may not be so. And that's going to be exacerbated by the entry of Mars shortly into this same 5th house. So that's a transit that's going to intensify up till about August, which is around the time that a lot of you born under Leo will be having their birthday. You've got to get that right now. And that 8th house where we see your ruler, the Sun now, around the 8th or 9th will partake in the new moon. So I can see for many of you the turning over of a new leaf, a complete attitudinal change to the way you deal with the issue of relationships, the issue that, as I've mentioned, of taking the full responsibility for the health of the relationship and maybe throwing that back on the other person. It does have to be a shared responsibility if you're going to be happy. And that 5th house also speaks of relationships we have with children, being the house of children. So For those of you who have kids, maybe in their teen years, this could be a period of volatility where you need to deal with the way those children express themselves, as opposed to the way you want them to express themselves. So that is, again, another form of resistance. And we see also Saturn now having just been in a sextile aspect to Venus, which is your career planet. So that's also, sextile aspect is generally considered a good, easy sort of aspect. Nevertheless, the influence of Saturn, which is a bitter enemy of your sun sign, influencing Venus, does put the brakes again on the relationships, the way you see the relationships, and your level of satisfaction. Given also that we see Mars has been and still continues to transit for a little while longer there in your 4th house, which is your domestic situation. There's a lot of personal issues here that need to be, gathered up and worked through. That's not going to happen through resisting. That's going to happen through opening up and really being honest about your feelings, and letting the other parties know that they have a responsibility to step up and share the work that takes place. It's a horrible thing to say that relationships take work. Initially they don't, but really the nature of relationships is that struggle to break free of that resistance, the desire to change the other person into being what we want them to be, the resistance to them wanting to change us into something that they expect us to be. So this whole level of expectation that is there is a large part of the reason why we don't find that fulfillment in the relationships. Now the other part of this is the 23rd, where we see a full moon taking place in your 3rd house, Libra. It's another important, it's the flip side of this new moon that I've just been talking about in the 8th house, that transformative element, the turning over of a new leaf, the sexual attitudes you have, the intimacy level that you have with your partner. And then of course a full moon eclipse in the 3rd house on the 23rd, that is also going to be the very strong significator of your chance to communicate your way through a lot of this, and that can be, again, with Uranus in the opposite side of the heavens, a very intense, progressive sort of lesson for you. One that, if you embrace it openly, will help you crack the nut of the difficulties in any relationships you're having. On the other hand, those of you that can't deal with that may suddenly decide to just get the hell out of here, go on a long holiday. 3rd house, 9th house has a lot to do with those sort of things. In any case, I think this month is going to be an interesting one for you. The key, just repeating that in conclusion, is to break free of these limitations caused by resistance to what's going on, to find yourself within the moment, passionate, expressive, spontaneous, non-resistant to what is, and allowing that energy to help you flow with what's going on. Flexibility is another key word for you. I hope you'll join me again next month. I want to continue again. I'm just going to get down deeper into the bedrock of what's going on in your life. And by all means, visit my website, astrology.com.au. For those of you wanting a more in-depth personal reading, I'm available there to help you with that, as are many of our other affiliates, really great practitioners who've had years of experience. And I do look forward to your company next month. Take care now. Bye-bye.